Good morning. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Yes, it's Friday. I can't even say. Thank God it's Friday, but can't. But we have to thank God that we all wake up. That's the thing. So, I'll wait till a few people come on. Make sure my phone is tight here. That's the problem. Okay. I'm on because there's just some things that are not adding up for me, you know? Just not adding up. And last night, I came on live, and for some reason, after I did my live, I went out. Hi, everybody. Hi, Mercy, Honey. Hi, Honey. Honey Zinc. There's Iris and Kathy. And, you know, I then did another video for the grotto because I felt that's what we needed. And for some reason, I made some tea because after talking for as long as I did, which was about 2 hours, I felt like I was getting a sore throat, so I had some tea. Then for some reason, I decided to go and look at all the videos, okay? So I made my tea. Missy made a beautiful cake yesterday, and I ate 3 pieces of that cake and ended up having 2 cups of tea, to the tune that it was 4 o'clock in the morning. And there was a part there that I really was going to post. But at that point, I really couldn't see anymore. You know, my eyes got really tired. And to be honest with you, I don't get the sleep that I'm supposed to get. And I hear it from everyone. It's just that I don't like sleeping. And I think now I feel that, you know, this is how I feel. I want to be up all the time. I want to be up, and I know our bodies need that. You need that REM sleep. Like Missy tells me, Marion says to me, a lot of people says, you need that REM sleep. But I'm just thick-headed. I find sleeping boring, to be honest with you. I do, because I hate when I fall into those deep sleeps because I can't hear. That bothers me. I'm happy when I wake up. I'm very happy in the morning because I thank God for giving me another day to wake up to. Just not having it. So even today, I fell asleep at 4. I was up at 8 o'clock. So yes. And people would think that with all the time and, you know, and just to lay out there in the courtyard that I would do that. But I'm not even a person that likes to take a nap. I just don't. I get disoriented. When I take a nap, I get disoriented because I get up, I jump up, and I'm like seeing everything quiet and even wondering, is it the same day? See what I mean? That's what throws me off. I'm not, you know, and sometimes if you accidentally fall asleep and I'm here by myself and I see the dogs quiet, I'm like, okay, is it the same day? You know, and it just throws me off. So I want to show you, I went through all the videos of the presser. Now understand something. I watched the FBI presser yesterday. I actually recorded it. I didn't get a chance to post it. So in that post, you know, what I was going to post, I couldn't, like, I was getting a little bothered with I guess it was the governor and also who was running the FBI. I just had a bad feeling that, is this going to be another Butler incident? You know, is it going to be like that? It also made me feel, after I saw the video of Charlie being shot, that really took me back. It took me back to, you know, I'm like what the governor said. you know, where we witnessed, okay? My generation, many of us, we witnessed. I was 8 years old. I remember that clear as day and remembered a very dark time. You know, I'm sitting in my second grade class and all of a sudden an announcement comes over. I see my teachers crying. And plus what happened is, you know, growing up in the Bronx, you know, we have these big streets. You know, I lived off of White Plains Road. It wasn't a street that we can cross by ourselves. So once the teachers came out, and with us, we didn't just walk home by ourselves, normally our parents. But at this point, all I remember is them lining us up, letting us, you know, now we're being released. So a bunch of us, we stood together, and what they did is they crossed us over to White Plains Road. Even as I was walking home, I saw all the stores already with the black drapes. And this is when Kennedy was shot. And I just remember the crying, the people. And then as a little girl, you know, we only had one TV. And everybody was glued to the TV. I watched my aunt, I watched my mother, I watched my sister, people crying. You know, you're 8 years old. You're, you know, part of you is also afraid. You know, everything, I don't know if this used to happen with you, but every time there was a tragedy, I remember Richard Speck. Do you remember that? When he killed the 8 nurses. Remember that? Right away as a child, we don't know, you know, how far something is, right? So as kids, we all get scared because we wonder as if the guy is around the corner, okay? Because that's how it was. So we get scared like that. We witnessed where everything stopped. You know, it was even hard to find a store open. That is when the country, you know, we all came together. Then the saddest thing is watching when they caught, I think it was Sirhan Sirhan, right? When they caught him and they're bringing him down the elevator. That's the image that I will always have. And I was sitting on the floor, and my aunt was there, and all of a sudden we witnessed when Jack Ruby, all of a sudden you're watching him bring it, and the biggest thing that I remember in those days, that it was all men. Do you get it? Everything was really with all men. That's all you saw. I remember that as clear as day. I remember watching the video of Kennedy being shot on the grassy knoll. And when they brought him down the elevator, everything was men, men, men. See what I mean? All with the big hats, black hats, and everybody looked old. That was another thing. You know, we're watching it in black and white, so they kind of look old. And when we saw the gun, I still remember that gun fired. And now, as kids, we're witnessing that. Then the funeral. Then watching John Jr. as a baby, saluting his father. We went through that. So for some reason this morning, okay, I was hoping, if I didn't fall asleep, I was ready to write. I really hope that what I've been watching on these YouTube, that is not going to be the guy. I really felt that way because the first thing I noticed, how young he was. I watched the video of him going, you know, up the steps on the roof. And things are not making sense. They're just not making sense to me. And it's given me a very, very bad feeling. I don't want to put anybody down, but today I felt there should have been more of that presser than all the thank yous and patting on the back and this and that. Because, you know, before Missy left, I said to her, I said, did you get the sense that, you know, obviously they're patting each other on the back for the great job they did, but technically this wasn't a thing that he turned himself in. The way the story's going is the father and the family turned him in. So what if that didn't happen? And then to know now that It's just not adding up, guys. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not a gun expert, but common sense works here. So I want to show you this video, okay? Because this is how I got up today. I got up today with, this is not making much sense. See what I mean? And it bothered me because even the presser that I saw last night, why didn't Kash Patel talk? And then they announced Dan Bongino. Dan Bongino was not in the lineup last night. He wasn't up there. So it makes you wonder, what in the world is going on? It's just, and I'm not the only one feeling this. So let me show you this, and then I'm going to point things out, because the shit ain't making sense. Tell you right now. None of this is making sense. And also, if you listen to the governor, I think he slipped up a bit. He slipped up with when somebody questioned him about the clothes that the shooter was wearing. And then he mentioned something that, well, the shooter then put the clothes back on, right? That doesn't make sense. None of that is making sense, okay? It just doesn't make sense. So I want you to just bear with me, and then you'll see what I'm talking about. Because I was up till 4 o'clock and I wanted to post. So when I got up this morning, it was Marion that texted me, to let me know. And remember, Alabama is an hour behind. So she said they got him. And I was like, oh man, I wish I would have stayed up so people would understand what I'm thinking. Because I did not want to believe, okay, that this is a very young person. And to be honest with you, if you look at him on the pictures, does he really look like he's the one that's jumping off this freaking roof? It doesn't make sense, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
What police are looking at right now this hour. TMZ has obtained new video of the before and after images of the suspect accused of killing Charlie Kirk. I want to show you the first video here. This is of the suspect walking to the venue in this neighborhood. Take a look. You can see the images now of that suspect. They're walking in the street, and if you can see, the person is walking with a limp there, and it is believed to be because that person has a rifle in the pants, and they're walking very difficult because of that object that is inside of the pants. Take a look here of that limp right there. And you can see there the suspect continuing to walk the street there, very close to where the venue was. And then this is after.
Now watch this.
See now that suspect clearly running in the field. And this was all obtained there by TMZ.
Now there he is again.
Are looking at that. The feds are looking at that as well. But this is the newest video that we are seeing of all this play out. And again, just happening moments ago as well, we are getting a new shot of the person of interest, the suspect, where these new images just released by the Utah Department of Public Safety. I want to show you this one as well, a little bit closer.
That's how I knew how young he was.
They are hoping that by releasing these photos and images, that somebody out there is going to recognize this individual. There is a $100,000 reward for the capture and arrest of this individual that is accused of killing Charlie Kirk just yesterday. All right, we are going to be keeping an eye on all of this here for you. I'm live now from Fox. Again, we are 45 minutes away from a FBI news conference.
Now wait, I want to show you something else. Watch
FBI
this.
Director Kash Patel will...
If you live in the state, you can get a free hearing aid trial. We are looking for 300 people to try out these new hearing aids. Do you really believe...
Come on. Hold on. We got him.
Thus, Utah DPS Commissioner Bo Mason, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, FBI Special
I'm
Agent
looking
in
for
charge
the
Robert
roof
Bowles,
one. Okay, so
and
watch
local and
this.
federal
p.m. Needed process success search. We're like to move forward
So watch
in a
this.
manner that keeps everyone safe and moves this process appropriately.
Believes the assassin was not a sophisticated killer, but someone developing a violent persona without a clear escape plan. That, he said, explained why the weapon was discarded so quickly and why the suspect may now be showing erratic or guilty behavior, abruptly leaving home,
look at that one.
work, or school under false pretenses. Kirk's death has sent shockwaves through the conservative movement. Known for championing faith, family, and freedom-focused values, his influence stretched across
Yeah.
And we now have more information about this suspect. We have a name to tell you, and this is according to multiple sources and our team of reporters
Now
covering
watch.
federal law enforcement.
See
Tom
him
Winter,
jumping
Mike
off the
Cosper, our
roof?
colleagues.
Look.
Tyler Robinson is the suspect in custody. He is from Utah. He's in custody and with state authorities in Utah, born in 2003. And so Tyler Robinson is the name that, according to multiple sources, is the suspect who is in custody. From our reporting, we understand he has been in custody for a number of hours now. And what happens with that, as Morgan was just saying, there was a point where authorities knew very little about who this person was. Well, once you have an individual identified, many new doors open. Tyler Robinson will now be subject to having all of his electronics reviewed, subject to a search warrant, and that would be the typical process now, that once he's identified and in custody, authorities are able to get the court permission to execute search warrants. That could be those avenues.
Yeah, now watch this.
Not a federal crime on its face, meaning a murder is a state crime. They would be looking for any avenues that allow them to find some kind of federal charge, if there is one that's applicable and appropriate, to add to this case with the joint work of federal authorities and state authorities.
You notice there's no
Tyler
lip?
Robinson is the suspect, according to our
He
sources.
runs.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.
This is supposed to be him.
Florida
too.
drivers do not pay your insurance bill until you hear this. Florida residents are going to be happy to hear this. It just came.
Well, some of the photos we're going to show you in this story are real. Some of them are fake. But the phrase you are not going to hear me say is enhanced. That's because AI does not enhance photos. Instead, it basically uses its memory to make stuff up. So let's start with the real photos released today by the FBI. And we totally understand these are blurry, but at the very least, we do know these are real photos taken from a surveillance camera at Utah Valley University in Orem. But later in the day, the Washington County Sheriff's Office, all the way down in Hurricane, made this post, quote, "Much clearer image of the suspect compared to others we have seen in the media." Well, the reason it's so much clearer is because it's fake. And you can tell it's fake if you look closely first at the shirt. It used to be some sort of logo showing an American flag. Now it's distorted. And if you move to the left hand, for some reason the AI decided to generate a watch, which is not seen on any of the actual FBI photos. Now, the sheriff later added a disclaimer to the post saying it is AI, but said he did not want to take it down.
In a case like this, I think they probably have an obligation to delete that.
That's Jim Bierman. He's a former police chief and current president of the Future Policing Institute.
Unless it's coming from a trusted source, you literally cannot trust
AI
anything
is
you see
dangerous,
anymore.
guys.
You are
Very
hampering
dangerous.
a criminal investigation, even though that may not be your intent, because now people are looking at somebody other than who the suspect is.
Now, these next two photos both have a Fox 13 watermark in the upper corner. even though neither of them were created or distributed by Fox 13 News. You can tell this one's fake if you zoom into his shoes. Now, the fake one is a lot less blurry, but you can see black shoes with black laces in this photo. On the real photo, it seems to be black shoes, possibly with white laces, but again, it is a little bit blurry. This next one, at the very least, the poster put in their caption, here's an AI cleanup of the image. But I want to reiterate, AI does not clean up images. It generates images, and some people aren't always going to read that caption before they download it and share it. For this one, the AI decided to randomly give him, looks like Converse. But more importantly, if you look at the face on all four images, these are four completely different people. Some of them are young, some of them are older. We have no way of knowing if any of them are accurate.
That is a perfect example of why this is so problematic. You become inadvertently used in this. You guys get tainted, even though you have nothing to do with this. People who think they're helping should stop doing this because they are doing exactly the opposite.
That's the
Just for
problem.
reference,
People
I
are not
decided to
putting their
upload a
phones
blurry photo
down.
of myself into one of these same AI tools. I asked it to enhance or clean up the image, and this is what it gave me. So you tell me if you think that looks like the suspect. Let's go back to the original photo. The real photo is released by the FBI. If you have any information on who this person is, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Reporting in studio, Adam Herpetz, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Watch this.
Hey everyone, big heads up, Paleo Valley's running a sale on all their
All
meat sticks right
these,
now. You can get 30 sticks for $36.
Apps. Wait, hold on. Shooter, Charlie Kirk. This will be the one.
Video showing the moment that law
Yeah, watch
enforcement
this.
say the shooter who killed Charlie Kirk got
Now, I
away.
hope
We
you'll
also
see
have new
this.
images from the
Yeah,
FBI of the shooter showing breaking news, new video showing the
Yeah.
moment that law enforcement say the shooter who killed
See?
Charlie Kirk
He
got away.
runs,
We also have
and
new
then he
images
jumps.
from the FBI of the shooter showing distinctive features on the clothing he was wearing, like this shirt
I wanted
with an
to show
American
you that.
flag and
Hold on.
eagle on it. Also, where law enforcement said the shooter left critical pieces of evidence as the manhunt for this killer continues into a second night. This is a breaking news edition of On the Case presented by Law and Crime. I'm Chris Stewart. Let's get to the latest information that we just learned in this news conference with Utah authorities as they continue to search for the shooter who killed Charlie Kirk earlier this week at a political event at a college near Salt Lake City.
I want you to see the video. That's all I
Jumping
want
off
you
of
to
a
watch
campus
this. Look.
building, and this is the building
it?
that law enforcement say this shooter fired with a rifle from about 200 yards away and hit Charlie Kirk. I'm going to break down this video for you in just a moment. I will show you what Bo Mason, the head of Utah's Department of Public Safety, had to say about it in just a moment. But I do want you to get a good look at these pictures as well, because these are new tonight. These are enhanced. These show the shooter on campus at Utah Valley University, and law enforcement is very clear. They want the public to see these and recognize the distinctive features on them, like that shirt with the American flag on it with an eagle. Also, the shooter was wearing a hat. They say it is a triangle logo on that hat, and he was wearing Converse shoes with white soles. Now, Charlie Kirk, just 31 years old, really rose to fame as a voice for young conservatives in the country.
Let's go to this. This is what I want.
He was
you to
very
see.
active
Watch.
on social media. He was at Utah Valley University, south of Salt Lake City, for his nonprofit, Turning Point USA. He was on a tour of college campuses, going from school to school and holding these political events. And Charlie Kirk was known for debating really anyone who wanted to have a conversation with him. And he was in the Q&A portion of this event when he was hit in the neck. Law enforcement say they
Now watch.
tracked this shooter from not only just the escape, but also the moment that the shooter arrived on campus before Charlie Kirk
See,
was
after
shot
the
and
shooting,
killed.
he
They
jumps.
believe
Watch.
that the shooter arrived just before noon, and then that one shot that killed Charlie Kirk was fired about a half hour later. And again, it came from a campus building roughly 200 yards away. Kirk was speaking outdoors
Okay.
in what was like an outdoor amphitheater.
So that's the video that doesn't make sense to me. When I watched the presser yesterday, they distinctly said they found the gun, okay, in the woods. So somebody explained to me, when we're watching him in that neighborhood, right, and he's limping, okay, as if he had the rifle up his ass, okay, he's limping, right? It doesn't make sense. So then what did he do with it? See what I mean? And you can't just, and I'm not a gun expert, but you can't just in that quick a time fold up. You get it? So something's not making sense. Where they found the weapon in the woods. So when did he do that? See, that's what's bothering me. He looked like he was fragile, right? No way is he jumping. And when you watch him jump and you see it clearly, his clothes fold. There's no rifle there. So something doesn't add up. It doesn't add up where when you look at the picture of him walking through the neighborhood, they showed you him behind walking through. Then there he is again. So it's just not making sense. And I have an issue with that because this is what we learned years later about what they tried to put out about the grassy knoll. Okay? What's that? What woods? Did you see that? Supposedly, when he jumps off the roof is when he's walking. And guys, I'm going to tell you, cell phones now, I keep saying, are a big issue because I believe everybody's not paying attention because they're all on their phone. And you would think, well, Deb, that's a good thing that they're taking pictures. No, they're not, because look at him. Look how brazen he was that he just jumped. And this is what I don't get. Kash Patel praised on how it took 16 minutes today. It only took the FBI 16 minutes to get to that incident, okay? But I'm sitting here going, and why wasn't there, you don't hear, well, it took 5 minutes before Charlie went on for them to check the area. It's not making sense. Why, after President Trump was shot in Butler, and they know with these roofs, where is the protocol? See, I feel Charlie's team, they dropped the ball. Anybody that's now going to be doing this, why is this happening? Why is it happening that he was able to just go and sit and nobody cared? And I blame it, and I'm going to tell you why. Because we're watching so much shit happen in this world now because of cell phones. I'll give you an instance. For me, there is no reason that a cell phone needs to be 24/7 in a person's hands when they're working. And that's why I think we're seeing a lot of screw-ups. I say it all the time. Give you an example. You go into a place now. You watch people working. The first thing you turn around is you see them taking a break and they're on their phone. I go to get an x-ray. I walk into that place and everybody's like this. For me, it needs to stop. It really does. Because I think this is why we're having screw-ups. There's screw-ups in hospitals, okay? We got people now of things happening to them when they go to a hospital. Because you know why? In my time of working, we didn't have a cell phone. If you needed to make a phone call, you used the phone. And the problem that I see is when we didn't work with phones, we focused on our job. We focused on our job. If I got a call outside, I'd be very quick. I wasn't able at work to talk to somebody and get into any shit. Okay? You know what I mean by shit? Meaning that right now people are at work and people are getting distracted because now you have that access. It's no more where you had respect. Well, I don't think I could call. You know what I mean? I'm old school. I'm a big believer. When I used to hire somebody, I used to tell them, you can make a call, okay? But it can't be a long call. And I was that way. I was very private because that's how we were raised. It's really sad that this is what's happening. For me, cell phones are really, and the internet are a big problem. And yes, if we don't have the internet, you wouldn't be seeing me. There are good things. But what's happening is we're living through fake shit. I said this a long time ago. That's why I told people just follow President Trump. Follow President Trump. I did that for a reason, because we don't know what's real or true. But what I do know is when doctors' offices are screwing up, rehab facilities are screwing up, operations are being screwed up. That's how I feel, okay? I could have lost another dear friend, Roseanne Perron, okay? Because of what she went through. She coded on an operating table for 6 minutes. Something that shouldn't have happened. And I still believe that a lot of the shit that's happening is because people are too focused. When you're getting a text, you now are like all day long, in another world. And it's happening now with young people. A lot of people see it. I would never be able to handle it, okay? If I was still working, and I'm going to tell you now, I even told Missy, I told Marion, I tell a lot of people, and my sister, if something happens to me and I go to a hospital, I'm telling you right now, that person walks into my room to take care of me and they have a cell phone on them, I'm telling them to get away from me. That is how I feel, because there is so much shit that I'm hearing of people screwing up. And they're screwing up because they're focused more, not just a paycheck, but they constantly, you find them, where are they? They're either somewhere on their phone. And when I say this, do you know what I mean by that? Yes, maybe they get legitimate calls, but it's the texting, okay? When you put that phone on silent and you run away, and somebody or a friend or a loved one, oh, did you see this on Facebook? Did you see that? You're being distracted. And that's exactly what is happening to us. It's happening so much. This is why my blood pressure goes up, because I deal with this every day. I deal with this stupid shit. And I tell the doctors, listen, I'm in great, my blood work comes out, everything great. What's sad is what we have to deal with. Stories are not correct. They screw up. I'm serious. I'm not joking. Every time I turn around, or even just talking to Missy or talking to Marion, and this happened, or something with my brother or with my sister, it all boils down to people not paying attention. And that's why I tell you, every time I go for surgery, and the anesthesiologist comes in to talk to me, I turn around and I have that look that I have now, where I get serious, and I look at him and I say, listen, you know all about me because you're doing, this surgery with the doctor. And I want people to realize it's the doctor doing the surgery, but it's the anesthesiologist that your life is in their hands. So when they come to me and say, how are you feeling, Miss Maxwell? Is everything fine? And I look at them and I said, don't ask me. I'm going to ask you. Did somebody cut you off this morning on the road, gave you the finger? Are you having an issue with your wife or your husband? Are there things, or did you just get a message on your phone? You see what I'm saying? This is what gets me. Because everything is interrupted. And that's why I get like this. I get very aggravated. Because we're dealing, it's not that we're just dealing with the internet, with Facebook and this and that, but we're dealing with it on an everyday life. Okay? I got to deal with the internet with Spectrum. I got to deal with every aspect that we're going through. When you call Amazon or you call PayPal, which I don't have anymore. See what I'm talking about? Because you can't deal with it. And when I look at all of this, I look at all the misinformation. And I tell Missy also, as a nurse, what she sees, how things are screwed up. See what I mean? Because people, I'm sorry to say this, but this younger culture, they're not listening. You can't even go into, I've been having this problem 3 times at Starbucks. And Marion, if you're on, you've been with me. You've seen it, right? And then I look like the bad one because I am paying for this cappuccino that's about $6 and they can't get it right. And that's because they're not listening. And you could see them. You could see them. One with the phone, this and that. I am sick of it, okay? And it has to stop. And only way that I'm going to stop it is now, and everybody knows it. I'm not on my phone, especially when I'm out. I'm very observant. And that's what I notice what's happening. It's the same thing when my heart goes out with the video of the young, Ukraine girl. Technically, she was killed, right? Even though she had an idea of what was happening. But I really believe that everybody is out there now where we need to be vigilant. And we need to stop. You need to put those phones down. This is why when people say, Deb, we don't like you, because you're not doing politics anymore and you're dancing. No, I'm bringing joy to people. I'm getting you to move your body. I'm getting your mind to be away from it, to go do gardening, go to the beach, go on a vacation, take a break. That is the way I saw it. We did our job with President Trump. But the problem is, nobody gets away from the cell phones. I'm not on I shot many people that have been around me. You don't see me always on the cell phone. I go to the cell phone to post something and then I move away from it. And that's what you have to do. You have to put the cell phone down, surround yourself with things that make you happy. Okay? You have to do that because a lot of it is why we're having this problem. Also, what I wanted to say to the governor when he turned around and he wished that it wasn't going to be one of their own, meaning their own resident. And he mentioned something about, it hard. And this is what I wrote. I said, evil does not pick and choose what state to be in, Governor. It doesn't. I blame the liberal colleges because the first thing that I would do is now grill him, okay? Understand. Number 2, this kid, if it's him, 22 years old, you have to dig into that. These parents, nobody saw. First of all, where did he get that gun? Where did he get that gun that he was able to know to do all of this? I have a big issue with that because now they're going to blame the gun. See what I mean? They're going to blame the gun. Our problem, and I'm going to say it again, is these liberal colleges. This is why when you put your kids through college, you have to check on their mental state. I'll tell you right now, if I had a child and the first thing I noticed them coming home and having an attitude with me or seeing the change in their faith and see the change in them, something tells you, okay? Something tells you there's something wrong. And what is wrong is the college. That's what's wrong. They have to now, something has to be done. Once this is over with this kid and he goes away for a long time, our focus has to be what is going on in these colleges to put this hate in him. Don't just say, oh, he's changed, okay? I know this. I know it, okay? I've seen it. I get a lot of messages. a lot of messages from people telling me how different their child is. And we see it. A lot of us, we have it. Your kid is different now. Once they go to these liberal colleges, you could say goodbye, but that's not the answer. As a parent, you gotta take them out of that school and save them, or find a way for the parents to band together and shut that school down. It shouldn't have went on as long as it has. That is the root of all the evil that we're having. And it's not going to change, guys. It's not going to change for your children, your grandchildren, unless those colleges are gone. And I'm still going to say it. Instead of these colleges, we need trade schools. Do you understand what I'm saying? I've been saying it for years. I'm the generation where we had trade schools. I think everything went wrong when they got rid of them, okay? They got rid of them. And to be honest with you, if your child went to a trade school college, right? I went to a business school. I didn't go to a regular college. And even that is gone. See what they do? They get rid of these things. They want everything to be these liberal colleges where there's these professors and nobody cares what every day. Could you imagine what that must feel? I feel sorry for the parents to know that you worked all your life, your child is in college, you should be proud. And then what happens? They come out of college and they don't even have a job. Okay? Now they got a bill. A bill because now they owe a student loan. I always believe that when your kid is graduating high school, maybe give them a little break. Maybe it's not so bad if they go and get a job, okay, for a little while. Because sometimes they're not really understanding. So maybe when they get a little older, then let them pick a trade school. Once you have a trade school, my brother went to a trade school, okay? My sister went, before she even she went to beauty culture school, okay? I went to a business school. So the thing is, once they stop doing that, because you know what it is? When we were in high school, they taught us, okay, we had, secretarial. We had cooking, which was not my forte. We had, me, everything was academic, so I was in accounting. But my brother, okay, they had shop, they had machinery, they had electric, carpentry. Does that even exist anymore? Okay? Is that existing anymore? No, because you know what it was? Everything was allowed, okay? We let these politicians, you let your local people change things in schools. It shouldn't have changed. I'll tell you, I was shocked when I first heard that a friend of mine's daughter at the age of 20 did not even know how to sign their name in cursive. And I was like, say that again to me? They don't know how to sign? What? See? I'll tell you right now, I would have been notorious as a parent. I really would. I would have been down there saying, why isn't my kid learning? What is this shit that I have to have my kid only can look at a clock that tells them? Okay? Why aren't you not teaching them how to read time, to tell time? You get it? See what I mean? Like they'll look, right now, oh, it's 11:37. Can they look at a clock and say that by just looking at it by itself? No, they can't. They can't do that. And they can't sign their name. Why is that? Why? Think about why they're not teaching your child how to sign, okay? Cursive. Yeah, you know why? Because they don't want down the road where they could able to see the Bill of Rights or the Constitution or all of that, of a lot of things that we have in cursive. This is all planned. They don't want, yeah, kids can't read cursive. I'm telling you, I was literally shocked. And how my friend realized it? By taking her daughter to the bank, okay, to open up an account. at 20 years old. And when the clerk said, could you please sign your name? And what did she do? She printed. And the girl is going, but you understand? That is crazy. And now going forward into this world, I keep saying, look, cell phones to me, I'll tell you right now. I said it the other day. Don't you miss having change on you and loving the fact that you used to go and try to find a phone booth? Don't you miss that? Don't you miss that you know, especially if you were interested in someone and you couldn't wait to, you know, either stop at a phone booth just to get to talk to them? Do you notice what else cell phones do? Cell phones also is very notorious for people to have, you know, other affairs. Do you get that? Because it's right there. It's at your disposal. You know what I mean? Years ago, I think it was harder. Remember, if you were interested in somebody, you had to wait till you got home. Even as a kid, you know what used to tickle me? Was when my mother, and I'd be outside, and my mother would tell me if I came in, you had to see my face because I could picture my phone, you know, the rotary phone, with the long cord, and we always made sure it had a long cord that we probably could go into the yard with or upstairs. And in the basement, how many of you kids, don't you miss that? Taking that phone and telling your mother, Mom, I'm on the phone. And I go down to the basement and I shut the door, even though I know she's listening behind the door. Do you see what I'm saying? All of that. And I remember my mother saying to me, Deborah, you got a call. And I was like, what? A call? I was like, somebody called me? What? I was like, you know, those are the things that we miss. Another thing I thought of the other day, I feel like doing it. I think that's what I'm going to do. I miss when you couldn't know where you were going, right? How many times you're traveling with other people and for some reason you're following a map and then you got to stop at a gas station and it said, excuse me, but can you give me directions? How many times? Go and do that. I want to see you film that. Go and film that. I want to do that. The next time I'm out with somebody, I'm in a gas station, you watch them go, excuse me, while I'm holding my phone. And I'll go, do you think you could give me directions? Don't you miss all that? You don't miss that? Like being able to do that and just run out instead of now everything's on our phone? Yeah, I still have my house phone too, Betty. I still have that. Because there's times, oh yeah, what about the party line? Remember that? And again, I still believe that a lot of these technologies is really not so good, okay? I think many years ago when people wanted to meet somebody else, you couldn't, okay? You just couldn't because you only had that phone. And even when you were at work, you didn't take a chance to make a call. And this is what I want to know. Isn't it, don't you miss those times knowing that you like someone and you're wondering what they're doing? But now it's so like, oh, let me just text them. You know what I mean? Let me do this. And this is how it goes. And sometimes, and I'm not just talking now, this has happened over the years when text finally came out. Or what about when pages came out? Right? When pages came out. Any of you who's been in a relationship when there was pages and all of a sudden you're wondering, what's that? You know, what's that beep? You know, then all of a sudden the person, oh, I got to go call. See? We didn't have that. And that's what's sad. Now it's so easy. You know, and a person, matter of fact, you know what gets me? Is the fact that at least when we had a landline, you know the person was calling you from the house. See what I mean? Or you could tell if it was a payphone. But now with cell phones, right? Unless, I guess, you hit the what is it? The video, okay? That's the sad thing. I don't know why we allowed all of this to come out. You know what I'm trying to say? There's almost like deceitfulness, scamming, all going on. And that's exactly how I feel. And it's kind of sad, you know, that people, or the worst, I got to tell you this, where cell phones could be good in some things, but then what about the people that actually are looking for love, right? And they end up getting mixed up with someone they think is real, right? They think they're real and they're caught up in that. And you see how sometimes, okay, where I feel, because look at, what's his name? Oh, what Dr. Phil, right? He does a lot of them, of the catfish. And when I say catfish, do people understand what that is? It's people that are being taken for a ride, okay? And they get involved, or they think who they're talking to, and it's not real. And the sad thing about it is it's so rampant now. It really is. People are losing homes, they're losing their money. And one thing I want to straighten out, it's very difficult, okay, to be around a person like that when you're trying to help them, and instead of that, because this is what happens, they turn against everybody. It's not the other way around. It's not that me or you or somebody else is turning against them. It comes to a point, it's almost like when you have a person that has an addiction. There's just so much that you can do. You know, if you have a person or a friend or a loved one and they're caught up in that type of situation, it's not you that's turning your back on them. You try and you try, because what happens is that person on the phone that's pretending to be real, they are now getting that person to also get away from you. Do you get it? Their instructions now to them is that, oh, that friend is bad now. You see, once you don't accept them having this, you know, you're trying to get them to believe that who they're texting is not real. See what I mean? And it's sad. Believe me, it breaks my heart, okay? It breaks everybody's heart. There's many people. There's people in banks now that I know that we're watching banks stopping their accounts because the families are watching their loved ones being drained. You get it? It's not the other way around, where me or anybody else is going against them or shaming them. Because I'll be honest with you, the person that they're pretending to be, that person on the phone, because what these people do, they steal a picture, okay? They steal a picture. People don't understand that. It's not who's the victim is now the person that is having people think it's them, okay? An innocent man or an innocent woman, that picture is out there being used by these scammers, okay? These oil riggers or these people that are pretending that they're real and they're going to come and see you, okay? But first you have to do this. I need money for this. I need money for that. And you think you're in love with them, right? They're scammers. And then what happens is they flip the switch. Or, personally, I don't want that around me. And yes, I am going to try my best to help them. But when the person doesn't want to listen, it's not that we're throwing them to the curb, okay? Nobody's throwing a person to the curb. They are old enough to get help and take care of it themselves. And if they don't want to, I don't want that around me. I don't want anybody to experience what I went through, okay, with a friend. And also, possibly, it's happening to another friend. And that saddens me. It saddens Missy. It saddens other people that know what I'm talking about. because there's nothing you can do. And nobody should turn around and say, well, Debbie and Missy, we threw so-and-so to the curb. That is a bold lie. There is just so much you can do for a person, right? And that's what I did to try to help them, whether it was contacting their lawyer, contacting a family member of them. That's what you have to do. And when they're so gone that you know, I don't want where now this scammer is knowing anything about me. Because what they do is they get you comfortable. They want you to be comfortable. And I tell you, I tell a lot of people, and the reason I'm bringing this up, because they're on my page, okay? And I watch, because majority of people that watch me are women. So they know my page is like, this is why I go on. Sometimes during the night, I go through my page, and I can tell you when a scammer is on there. The first thing they do is they see your profile, okay? And they say, oh, a lovely profile. I would like to be friends with you. Can you send me a friend request, right? That's where it starts. Now, the second thing, and I'm forewarning you that's going to happen, they don't want to stay talking to you on my page. So the next thing is to get you off of my page to a private site. And one of the main ones is WhatsApp. See? They get you there, and now you're giving them, I guess, your phone number, whatever, and that's when it ends up being on your text messages. That's how it goes. So what I do is I totally block that person, because what saddens me is when I go in to see whose picture they're scamming. And a lot of you guys know, I literally searched out to find the guy. This poor guy, Gene Smith. Remember him? He's a doctor. And it was his image that they were using. And when I spoke to him and his wife, I said, how come, you know, their answer to me was they notified the FBI. And you want me to believe that the FBI, that there's no way of tracking down? Like, all you got to do, the way I see it, is get the victim, or a family member should get their phone, okay, and hand it over and let them see where these numbers are coming from. Because from what I was told, they're coming from Nigeria. They're coming from all these places. So as soon as I see somebody, you know, like having this issue, it's sad. My heart goes out to anybody. But I don't want to hear that, oh, Deb and Missy threw this person to the curb. That's an outright lie, okay? Because I'm very honest. Sometimes I'm too honest of what I let you people know, because that's how I am. I believe in truth and honesty, and I will never turn my back on anybody. But sometimes, yeah, people do come in your life, okay? I'm not stupid. I've been doing this for 10 years, and I'm very quick to know who really is my friend and who wants something. And Missy, this is why Missy would stay quiet, because I pick up on it right away. And I just like to see how far they're going to go before I do cut the ties. You know? And that's what has to happen. Because yes, I did have people that saw my page rising. I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid at all. And that's why more I stayed in my house. And my motto was, follow President Trump. Just follow President Trump. And maybe that's why I've been blessed to have this page still up. That's how I feel. And yes, I said that I will be back on when I feel the need that I have to speak. And at this time, with everything happened, yes, every day, this has been my goal, to come on, to talk, to get you people not to feel alone. And yes, I do my dancing video, but right now, I'm not dancing, because I'm still where I'm raised, you know, when anybody died in my family or whatever, I was brought up that way, that's not the time we dance. And right now, when I feel that it's okay, when I feel that Charlie wants me to continue to dance, that's when I'll dance. And that's when I'll do videos. But right now, I don't want to feel like, we're never getting justice. Because for me, something's wrong with this. Even to know that this shooter now lives 3 hours away. He didn't even go to the college. When they say the deep state is very big, you just don't know. I mean, what's her name? Laura Luna, who I happen to love her work. She came out the other day and actually said about a little plane. So it makes you wonder why, they're praising themselves for how quick. But technically, let's be real, okay? It was the family that got him to come in. I hope that they look, not us where we seen, okay, they caught him, right? It was his family that turned him in. So why was it that so easy? And what about the security? Is anybody looking at the security? Because I'll tell you right now, I'm not over Butler. I'm not over the, Secret Service. Personally, and I have it on a coin, okay? I have those gold coins. I do not care for the picture. And I say it to everybody. There's the picture of President Trump where he has the Secret Service lady under him. For me, that picture bothers me because it's a reminder that they didn't protect him. There was just no way. That day in Butler, I don't care what anybody says, are we getting the truth about it? I believe there's a lot of people in on this. I am shocked. I'm shocked to even know where did he go? Find out. We have to find out now. Did he take shooting lessons? You know what I mean? To know exactly how to shoot that. And guys, I even tell my nephew at times, who's a retired detective, I say, Anthony, tell me something. Why is it that you just wear, a bulletproof vest, right? I see this in movies. I'm like, doesn't make sense. That none of this needs to be covered yet. I say, doesn't, you know what I'm trying to say? Yeah, it's wonderful, bulletproof vest, but look what happened. I think of now, I had to tell my sister, I said, Jean, look at the video clearly, because the video that I got is very quick. You don't actually realize when you see how the bullet, you thought it went in here, but it ricocheted, and then you see the blood. That's why I said to Missy, my gut feeling, and she's a nurse. So, I said to her today, for me, did he die right away? See, I have a feeling he was dead already, but they needed a way to announce it. And then here came President Trump. Because, I'm not an expert in that, but every time you look at it, for me, he did not look like he was still alive, and even when they carried him out. And did this person know that hit that? Or you're hearing now reports that he tried to go for his head? Nothing made sense to me today with that presser, because in the beginning, I was shaking my head. What is he talking about? What is he talking about, the writings and all of this? Well, go and get that information, okay? Go and get the information of who took the time to imprint whatever on bullets. Is that what they were trying to tell us? Somebody, this had to be planned. And I'm sorry to say this, but this kid who looked very fragile, okay? You want me to believe that he was able to run like that and jump off that building without breaking his freaking skinny legs? That's what I don't get. And then to know that the gun was already, see what I mean? And it makes you wonder, why would he even do that? When now we know that supposedly he got back in his car and drove 3 hours back. Did you hear him say that? See? Then when the reporter questioned about the clothes, did you all hear that I feel the governor screwed up because it was, what, 2 days ago? So he's going to put his clothes back on, right? And then all of a sudden, he changes back into the clothes of when they brought him in? Did you hear that? Did I get that right? Didn't he say that he put the clothes back on when they brought him in, when his family talked him into bringing him in? See what I'm saying? Did he get the full impact? Or was this like, you know, a slap on the wrist? Well, let's walk him in. You know what I mean? No, that's not the way it should have been. It shouldn't have been that, you know, something like that. So again, I'm wondering, okay, Charlie, Kesh Patel, what did your, you know, FBI do? You know, yeah, it was great work, but you didn't catch him, okay? It had to be where you didn't go to the house, okay? You waited. Yep, I agree with Smat, your name is. Am I saying that right? It was a professional, in my opinion. Absolutely. Absolutely. To know that distance, did that kid know that distance of how far it was going to be? And again, when the governor or Kesh Patel says, and this is great, they got there in 16 minutes, and I'm sitting here going, and what about Charlie? Nobody of his security team could have got there an hour ahead and said, you know what? Let's get up on these buildings. See what I'm talking about? It's sad. It really is. Because how is it going to be going forward? Are we going to have boots now or not have any rallies or people being able to talk, or any one of us? How about that? What if we're at some fair or whatever? Nobody is going to check the roofs? See, I feel, personally, all of this for me is the Democrats, okay? They're the ones that made it never, see, when you have the media, okay, it's, you know, putting out disinformation and putting out wrong things and making it look like Charlie is a racist, a fascist, okay, and that, and not talking truth about people, we would not be in this shit today. That's my point. And they hold responsibility. They hold responsibility on how they proceed with President Trump. I blame them. I blame the radical Democrats that were on an agenda along with conservatives, okay, in our government that allowed all this shit to happen, that allowed everything that's happening on the colleges, everything that's happening in our government, where we have people that should not be there. We should not have Omar. We should not have Tlaib. We should not have anybody in our government that doesn't believe in God, okay? That have a different ideology, that are being paid by other countries to get in our government. And that's what happened. That's why it's so deep. It's so deep. Our colleges are to blame. I told you, weren't we supposed to at one time, remember Bill Barr, right? As much as I have the glasses like him, I thought he was a great guy. One day he came out and he said, I'm going to expose all the names that are in Antifa. You know he never did that, because I'm going to say it. Antifa is made up of the liberal professors. That's exactly who I believe they are. I believe they're doctors also. That's who is part of that. And that's why when Charlie came along and he was, you know, trying to just start dialect with people and to let them see a difference. We should be all able to have our differences. They didn't want that, because one thing, if Charlie wasn't effective, this wouldn't have happened. You understand what I'm saying? If President Trump wasn't effective, none of this would be going on, because that's what they were used to. You have to understand, the Democratic Party, the deep state, was used to the media, the paid freaks of media, to do their job and to tear the person apart. They couldn't do that with President Trump. And that's why they thought, you know, the last resort is to kill them. See what I mean? They wanted to kill President Trump to shut him up, because that's their answer. They want to kill Charlie Kirk to shut him up. But I think what happened now is that turning point. We're seeing the turning point. Yes, Charlie, you know, actually, I think he's going to be even more effective after death. I hope down the road, many of us will still be affected, you know, by people that, you know, we're here. I say that I wasn't this way. Yeah, you might think because I'm Bronx and I'm kind of tough, I'm outspoken. I'm outspoken when I'm defending a person. I don't like to see that. I'm outspoken for myself, for my loved ones, for you guys, for our country, for President Trump. And a lot of this, I just can't shake it off. Do you get it? I can't shake off what I'm feeling, and that this shouldn't have happened. And they think they're sending us a message. And the answer is not for us to go out there and retaliate the same way, even though I know that that's what many people want to do, and that's what they're waiting for. Okay? We have to do it in a different way. And that's why I say, you know, you got to have those voices out there. And they think that, you know, or this kid, I still think it's bigger than this kid. It really is. It really is. So I hope that, I really hope that we can see, you know, a lot of the stuff that's going to come out with this kid. I hope they just don't shut him up and lock him away. Do you understand? But I hope the death penalty, because there's another ridiculous shit we have because of appeals and that. I don't want to hear that. You know, this is what gets me. When there is pure evidence that he did it, the same way with the guy that, you know, cut the throat. I'm going to go now because Missy's coming in. The dogs are going to act. So I'll be back on later, guys. Have a great day. She's going to come in, and I guess I'm over my time. Okay. Talk to you later. Love you guys. Bye-bye. I got to go help her with groceries. Bye.